I saw this graphic, and there's two colors, okay? There's the color of ice, and there's the color of PP. So ice means that there are less ships. So the shipping that was happening, it is now less. Okay, so ice equals negative. PP means more. More ships going that way. So you can see around the Middle East, a lot of the ships have not been moving. We all know why that's happening. And instead, they actually are going around Africa to get to the European continent, to get to Asia, or go to the US. And this is something that is pretty temporary, in my opinion, because capitalism tends to find the path of least resistance. People want to make more money. And so, what we're going to see happen in the future, in terms of like economic routes or whatever trade in the Middle East, is that Saudi and these countries, the Persian Gulf Arab states, are going to try to find ways that they can get past the Strait of Hormuz. So they don't want to ever be put into this situation again. They never were put in this situation before. It's never happened this bad. And they never want to be put in that again. So what they're going to do is they already have maybe one or two pipelines that go across, right? So if you can get your oil from here to here, then you're good and you can go out, right? So they're going to build more pipelines, and that's going to be something that the new country of Iran is going to have to almost persuade them not to do if we want to keep a bit more trade going through here. It could be beneficial for us, could not be, we don't know. But this land route through Pakistan, which is right now not a good thing, because in my personal opinion, we probably have weapons from China going through Pakistan and into Iran, amongst other things. But this could be something that, if tensions between Pakistan and India are solved in the next coming decades, could be extremely beneficial. And I think that the new Iran will have a significant part to play in that. Afghanistan will be a very important country, not only to get rid of ideologically, to get rid of the Islamist stuff, but also because I'm going to draw a little circle here. So, in this area of the world, it's very mountainous, and a lot of the minerals that you need to build electronics are found here. So, they're found here and they're found here. So, obviously, because we're more interested in this region, we're going to focus on this. This is very important, and China's been doing their damn best to sink their claws into this region for forever, pretty much. And this is a way that we can be a bulwark against China and, yeah, basically ruin their strategy. So, what that's going to do is China's running out of time. The US has caught on to the Chinese strategy of, hey, they want to capitalize on AI, they want to become the future leaders. All right, they're going to get the minerals, they're going to have the people. Maybe they even take Taiwan, who knows? But they won't have the energy to do it. Why? Because we're going to pull all these Middle Eastern countries into our side. So they can't run their stuff. All right. So if you're China, you got probably maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years maximum. And that's the longer the time goes on, the worse it is to take Taiwan for all the superconductors, right? Now, this is becoming harder and harder to do, because we saw from all the data that we collected in Ukraine that it's going to actually become a lot easier in the future and right now for Taiwan to defend itself with these drone swarms. What are you going to do if you're China? You can't go down, you can't go to the right, you can't go to the left too much further than you already have been, but you can go up. You can go up into Russia. And Russia is something that they're paying really close attention to because they're getting obliterated by Ukraine. They're losing so fast and so hard. So I think we actually might see China turn on Russia in the future and potentially go in and grab these areas which already largely speak Chinese. And you're going to see like a largely you're going to see the world change. And I've been saying that since September. To my dad, and he does not want to listen. I've been telling him, I'm like, hey, dad, in the next 5 to 10 years, there's going to be no more European Union. They're probably going to break up into smaller parts. They're going to go back to being their own countries. You're probably going to have Poland be like one of the biggest powers in there. You're going to see the United States make Canada into the 51st state, metaphorical sense. They're just going to be vassalized and under our control because they have to be. Same with Greenland. And then all of South America is also going to have to bow down to the US. And we did that with Venezuela. We're showing them, hey, this is what's gonna kind of happen. And I'm simplifying everything like super, super hard, right? So what you're going to see is this entire hemisphere is going to be under the control of the global superpower, with kind of this area kind of left to itself as long as they act up. And then the economic stronghold region is Iran. Why? Oil, but also natural minerals, which are going to become supremely important. So the two things that you need in the future of AI is energy and then the materials to build them with, and that is exactly what Iran has. So if you guys were worried about Iran running out of oil in the future, or if the world's going to switch away from an oil-based economy, we still have a ton of natural resources to deal with that. And hopefully, I would personally like to see us even get around this and just build a maybe sort of road or highway or railroad or even pipeline and kind of capitalize that to get over here, hopefully with Israel, and we can just access the European theater directly off of them. We don't have to go all the way around. What I'm trying to say is, look at this map. Do you see what this country is? It's in between Africa, Asia, and Europe. Two bodies of water on each side, natural resources rich. It's not going to take as long as people think to rebuild this country, especially with the plans that we already have right now with all the experts. I don't really see it taking more than 5 to 6 years, but bar any for example, earthquakes. That's a huge deal. Technically, an earthquake would just level Tehran, and you can do nothing about it. You might even have to move the capital city because while the water issue is pretty severe, we can probably mitigate that a lot with Israeli technology. But what you can't do is that the city of Tehran is sinking about 30 centimeters every single year. So what are you going to do about that? Right. So there's a ton of problems. And my point is that the world's going to change much faster than you guys think, because we had a period since World War II till now where largely things stayed the same. Sure, the Cold War shook things up. Sure, the Soviet Union fell. But we haven't seen any catastrophic apocalyptic events like we did in World War II. And I think we're due in for another one pretty soon, which is why Mr. Trump is trying to stop that from happening, from stopping China. And as I said before, the best war is the one that you never have to fight. Yeah, you guys feel free to give him shit. Feel free to criticize. That is your job as an American. It is very American to criticize America. However, wanting America to lose is not very patriotic. It's not very American. And I suggest for whatever country you come from to adopt that as well in going forward, because you will absolutely need that.
Okay, I'm gonna ask people to respond in 30 seconds max, so I'm gonna cut you off. Jeffrey, you're first.
Well said, Ali. I'm going to quick just touch on the point you made with regard to rare earths. So I posted it in the link. That was the assessment done by the United States from 2011 to 2017, the United States Geological Survey that did the survey in Afghanistan and identified over 1 million tons of economically recoverable rare earth elements, which is also why it was really shitty when Biden's recklessly disengaged from Afghanistan and the Chi-Com swooped right in to actually try to control those very areas. So Ali's not without, he is not without, what he said is right on the money.
All right, thank you. Shauna?
Just really quick, I would like to point out that a few weeks ago I mentioned to Jeffrey that there was a possibility that in the next 20 years, Russia and America would be able to ally against China, and you said no way. And I see from your face you still say no way, but I think it's still possible. I'm not saying I like Putin or that I trust the Russians, but or that I want the Ukrainians to get fucked over. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if things go the way Ali is talking about, I still think it's possible that Russia and America team up again to save Taiwan or to do something.
Wrap it up.
I'm done.
All right, thank you. Guy?
The geopolitical changes jive in with my wet dream as some of which is the Lion Alliance between Israel, Iran, and India, because India's emblem is apparently the Asian lion. I think it'll be fantastic. Israel will provide a lot of technology that Iran needs. Iran has resources. India has a global power level population that's still growing, unlike, for example, China. Also, those three companies, I would not be surprised if they account for like most CEOs in America. Their cultural heritage is very powerful, each individually. They also don't seek to expand beyond where they are. I think there's a lot of interesting connections culturally between the three, and I think we should see that flourish.
Okay, excellent. And then Sketch. Is
I
there
go now?
Oh, now go.
Okay, I was gonna touch on the China thing because there's been I watch a lot of problems about a lot of countries dealing with China, a lot of programs about China, and China definitely has a lot of problems with Russia and with India. They have a lot of border disputes. With Russia, it's that they have a lot of economic deals, then China backs out of. China was supposed to buy a lot of oil from Russia. It wasn't doing that because it was getting it cheaper from Iran. Then when this Iran thing happened, it went back to Russia again. So they have a lot of friction. It's a fair weather friend situation. The situation between China and India is also not good. So there is that. India is also very
Finish
self-serving.
up.
They should be.
Okay.
That was basically it. That China is a problem, and there's a lot
Right.
of countries that would back out of them.
Yep. Thank you. Yes, you're up.
Users reported significant pain reduction.
Hello. I have a question. Can you turn that down? I have a question regarding the communication in Iran. I have a friend. I think the phones are being tapped, so the landlines are not really usable as a way to organize and communicate. But buy SIM cards at exorbitant prices, and there are like multiple tiers of SIM cards. Can you explain that to me, Armin? Do you know what that? Is it possible to buy a SIM card if you have the money and have point-to-point encryption, like with WhatsApp or Telegram or whatever?
Actually, I don't know much about that. Ali, do you have any information on that?
Yeah, if there's a way that you can contact who you want to talk to in Iran, tell them to go, and I just did this and it just worked. You can go to a cell phone shop and buy a just normal trashy phone that has international calling, and you can actually call for a few hundred hours internationally. And
Okay.
they're, I think the equivalent was like it was like $5 or $6. So it's very not expensive to do it. As you said, they probably are tapped, so you can't really talk about what we talk about. But if you just want to just be in touch with someone, you definitely can. You just have to get to that message to them first, which is the hard part.
What about the intra, like within the country, which I think is going to be essential for the uprising to get organized? I don't see how they can do that without some kind of communication internally. That's not tapped.
Oh, if you're worried about that, yeah. So the intranet, yeah, that's all tapped and monitored. But we could just do the same thing that we did before. We just hack the TV. There's a ton of ways we can do that. Like when they are going to get the signal that it's the right time, that's not going to be an issue, I don't think. Because like
Yeah,
keep in mind, you just need a few people to get it. You need enough people to come out in the streets, and then everyone else realizes what's happening, and they also come out.
many people have satellite TV and they're watching Iran International or Manoto on satellite TV. So they might not have the internet, but they have it they have Iran International on their TV.